A very good afternoon to Professor Dr. Harry and my fellow classmates. I'm Yeo Jia Nee and today I'm representing our group to do the presentation. My group members consist of Adeline Lukas, Ernisa Johnius, Empiang, Anak, Gundi, Wong Leg Chuo, and me myself. To analyze the risk management of the company in Bursa, Malaysia, we have chosen the companies from telecommunications sector which are Digi.com Berhad and Maxis Berhad. ERM has been defined as a set of procedures used by the management of an organization to predict, admit, and analyze all risks and opportunities that may arise in order to mitigate negative effects and invest on potential opportunities, as well as it should be accomplished in collaboration with all parties. Effective ERM procedures enable organizations to respond to unexpected threats, maintain flexibility, exploit new opportunities, and allowing them to acquire a competitive advantage. Digi's management team evaluates and considers the indicated risks, which are then mitigated through strategies that are assessed for progress in order to keep the risk exposure at an acceptable level. Management reports Digi's top enterprise risk to the Audit and Risk Committee (ARC) on a quarterly basis in the form of risk heat map for oversight and mitigation status as part of risk governance. Besides, Digi also has established internal control systems which can ensure the operations of company are effective. The internal control system involve profitability assurance, cybersecurity, fraud management, and controls over financial reporting. Key issues and mitigating strategies are reported to management on a monthly basis. Digi has held weekly management meetings to identify, discuss, authorities, and address strategic, operational, financial, and key management issues that faced by Digi on a regular basis. Besides, the Maxis ERM framework is based on a committee of sponsoring organizations of the Tradeway Commission ERM framework. To ensure risk levels are controlled within policy boundaries, close monitoring and control measures are adopted, including the use of relevant key risks and key performance indicators. ERM meetings are held on a regular basis among units within departments or sections in order to identify potential risks that might prevent the accomplishing its current and future business objectives in long term or short term. Changes to risk information and newly identified risks are reported, reviewed, and discussed quarterly with the Maxis management team (MMT) as well as the Audit and Risk Committee to ensure the risk response strategies are coordinated and implemented in a timely manner. All detected risks are shown on the 5x5 risk matrix depending on their risk ranking to help management prioritize their efforts and manage the various levels of risk effectively. Maxis anti-bribery and corruption system functioning to minimize bribery and corruption risk and informing the board on compliance the concerns. Next, we move to the key issues as far as risk management is concerned. For Maxis Berhad, Maxis Berhad had a full team who managed their risk management to ensure they have the best control of company threats and produce effectiveness to their system. Their risk management also investigates the relationship between risk and the potential for them to have a cascade impact on an organization's strategic goals. First of all, the first one would be technology partners for businesses. Maxis collaboration team concerned about the management they had with multiple partners, which are big companies such as Petronas, Empiang, Dagangan, AWS, Microsoft, and Google. Maxis Berhad need to continuously manage their talent to meet the expectation and momentum of their partner. Secondly, Maxis ERM framework. The risk management have few processes for ERM that need full attention of the organization. For example, integrate the risk management into daily business operations, as sometimes it's hard to continue to implement it in the real time. Next, the key issues would be subscriber fraud management. The major concern about risk management and their statement is about subscriber fraud. The focus is to decrease the possible fraud risk as it influences the revenue of the company. These issues should be monitored and reviewed completely. Revenue Assurance Function has assisted Subscriber Fraud Management (SFM) to deal with the issue. SFM has the best system to monitor and subscriber call 24 hours. It also examines significant new services and products for potential fraud risk and makes recommendations for mitigating the risk. Last but not least is competition risk. Due to the COVID-19 pandemic, it really impacts the operation of a firm, employee, and a customer. The competition is high as many other companies come up with new management strategies. According to annual report of Maxis 2020, intense market competition has resulted in new and established competitors offering novel and overlapping services to meet demand for connectivity that is intelligent and configured. Therefore, to compete with a high number of players, the management are pushing efficiencies and innovation through new technology, products and services, processes, and business models. The concern is, when implementing or improving new product, the organization may take some time to do the operation effectively and increase their productivity. Next, we will be moving to Digi Berhad. The identification of digital risk is based on the risk assessment of the organization's ambitions and objectives from the strategic planning processes. Mitigation measures have been implemented and are being closely monitored. One of the key issues in Digi Berhad is market and competitions. Malaysia-based Digi predicted its full-year revenue and will decline due to the COVID-19 pandemic and intense competition, which weighed on both its top line and profitability, though it did highlight some positive when it reported its second quarter result in June. Next is market discontinuity. Digi experienced interruptions in service areas during the pandemic outbreak. It led to a financial impact as the company's revenue declined. Discontinuity are risks as they are difficult to predict, and the business needs to monitor their internal and external environment. Next, operational efficiency risk. The risk of losses caused by incorrect or failed procedures, rules, systems, or incidents that disturb business operation is known as operational risk. This is a critical aspect of any organization, including Digi, because it monitors and controls the business operation day by day. Last but not least is data security. Due to the rising digitalizations and high internet consumption from remote work during COVID-19, there is a risk of a cyber attack with the presence of threat and exploitation activities. Understanding risk is crucial not only at the technical infrastructure of data levels, but also at the business levels. If risk management wants to better understand how trusted third-parties use and secure company data, they need to keep an eye on security environments. Next, we move to the fighting sections. We have analyzed these two companies and they manage their risk in various ways. But similarly, Maxis Berhad and Digi Berhad had exposed similar risks such as market and competition risk, operational risk, data privacy risk, and others. In Maxis Berhad, they were still evaluating and defining action plans. Employees' health and safety problems have been affected due to the COVID-19. So, their management committee meet regularly for exploring the risks. On the other hand, Digi company had also exposed competition in revenue growth. There were challenges in growing the company revenue where there are lots of physical stores were forced to close. As a result, net profit in 2021 had declined due to the high cost increase. Besides, Digi company was also facing risk in optimizing capital allocation on digitalization in order to compete with other competitors. When the customer satisfaction couldn't be fulfilled, customer trust of Digi would decrease. For instance, some key risk indicators had been used to measure risks such as number of non-billing complaints. This has affected and overlapped other risk functions. Moreover, there were failure to delivery growth because there were no touch points with partners and customers in Maxis company. The risk is significant in weakening the connection with one another. Nevertheless, due to the reason as these two companies are communication service providers in Malaysia, they both expose the data privacy risk. The number of cyber threats has increased, so it leads to leaking of confidential information. With that, a government's framework were to be complemented in order to mitigate risk in Maxis companies. Next, comparing these two companies, Maxis Berhad had monitored risk more efficiently as it analyzed in each risk exposed and with implementing actions taken. They had used completed risk framework to identify and priority risk. Also, Maxis Risk Management Committee was one employees to understand the presence of risk. They accept and transfer the risk as the way of responding to the existing risk. Since there were targeted implemented actions taken to measure risk exposed, internal control and external audit also played a role part. While for Digi Berhad, although they had identified major risks, but there was a lack of control and implementation, since the reported risk found would be given to the director of Digi after evaluating from audit and risk committee, but the monitoring process were not performing at the efficiency level. The consequences are more obvious in negative level, which are debt to income and profitability decrease. Share price had dropped down to 6% from 2019 to 2020. Next, we move to the discussion sections. From the report, we can say that Digi and Maxis, they manage their own risk and take actions to manage it. For Maxis Berhad, they have an established risk management framework and procedures for internal control. These procedures are subject to regular review by the board. They provide an ongoing process for identifying, evaluating, and managing the significant risks faced by the group that may affect the achievement of its business objectives and strategies. A dedicated enterprise risk management department works closely with the division across the company to continuously strengthen the risk management initiative. For managing the risk, Maxis conduct multiple scenario analysis based on the economic forecast built on information. We adopted an approach which would allow management to be flexible, reserve cash, and continue to execute their convergence, visions, and growth strategy. First, by putting people first, where Maxis maintenance and sales employees are supplied with appropriate protective equipment and training to stay protected while at the front line of the business. Next, stabilizing their operation important for us maintain our network and technology. By keeping up engagement with stakeholders, importance of communicating with customers, increased discussion and engagement with the government, enterprise, SMEs, and local communities. Next, Maxis Berhad is also related to recovery and business reconfiguration. They use enterprise risk management framework to test the scenarios and go an independent review of assessment to ensure it had covered all necessary aspects of the risk review. For Digi Berhad, Digi Risk Management Framework provides the foundation and process on how risks are managed across Digi. Digi risks are identified based on risk assessment performed relative to the organization's ambitions and objectives of our strategic planning process. Obtain supervision of main risks, opportunities, mitigation plan, risks reported by the management and discussed with ARC and the board. These risks are still relevant, mitigation responses are in place and continuously monitored to mitigate risk exposure, such as data protection and market and competition risks. In conclusion, enterprise risk management (ERM) is important since the ERM system's effectiveness determines the company's long-term viability and vitality. If a company fails to recognize the risk to its future, it will be unprepared to deal with all risk occurrence. It can be summarized that ERM is an organization's discipline, culture, and control structure for constantly improving risk management capabilities in the changing business environment. Both Digi and Maxis have developed an effective enterprise risk management framework which help them to identify the key risks such as financial risk, regulatory risk, and security risk. And that's all from our group. Thank you.